Hey ladies and gents, welcome back to Miss Raga's Art Room. Okay, we're gonna make our cylinder. So you should have received a slab of clay, okay? If not, hopefully you're doing this at home, you've rolled your slab of clay. So go ahead and unpackage it from your plastic. Okay, and pull it right on out. First thing I want you to do, okay, is kind of find the most even end, and that's going to be the end we start our roll up from, okay? The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your tin can and you're going to wrap it in some paper towel. And the paper towel is going to act as a resist to help us get the can out from around the clay. If we just wrapped this wet clay around this metal can, it'd be stuck like a vacuum seal. We'd never be able to get it out. Okay, so basically the clay is going to stick to the paper towel and then we can slide the can out. Okay, next thing we're going to do is just even up one of our edges here. So looking at my can, I'm going to line up tush towards my tummy, right? So tush of the can towards my tummy. Okay, bottom edge of my clay slab, all the way over to one end. Now I'm right-handed, so I go all the way over to my left side. My left-handers, you may want to be going over this way. Okay, and I'm just going to trim off with my fettling knife just a little bit of that excess. So I'm starting with as straight an edge as I possibly can. And then I'm going to roll my clay up. And I should have a little bit of an excess overhang. So one more time, I'm going to crunch that paper towel down and in at the bottom there. Okay, so line the can up and roll. Okay, and I'm going to have a bit of excess there, and that's all right. I actually want to have a bit of excess. You're going to take your pinky finger. You're going to line it right up where that connection point happens, and you're going to leave about a pinky finger's width of extra clay behind, of overlap, and then trim that extra bit off. This is going to help to create a nice tight seam for us when we roll onto the can. So do you see how I have, it's not a ton of overlap, but it's a little bit. Okay, now we're going to take our scoring fork and we're going to score the underlapping edge, like so, really good, really wide, and see how much I'm roughing up that clay, really rough that clay up. Okay, and then I'm going to score the underside of the top edge. Beautiful. Open up my slip here. Woo, can don't unroll. Okay, you're going to take the slip, you're going to pat it over the clay. Remember, the slip we're using to dab over top of our score marks. We are not covering up our score marks, right? We are not trying to smooth those score marks out. No, quite the opposite. We need those beautiful ridges so that the clay knits itself together when we give it that pressure. Those ridges are all going to grab onto each other. And then when it fires, we get this awesome, super tight join. And the slip fills in any little gaps in between with that liquid clay. And then this becomes like one solid substance. You can see I got a little hair in there. Don't worry about it. It'll just burn off in the kiln. I mean, if it really bothers you, you can pick it out, but meh, it's fine. Okay, there we go. Well covered with slip. Time for the best part. I'm going to pull these sides up. We're going to give it that push and wiggle. Really going to get that squidge together. Okay, take your brush, extra slip, wipe that off right back into our slip cup. That's still good to use. Whoops, ooh, a little splatter there. Oh well, that's what the canvas is for. Okay, I'm going to really give that good pressure so it starts to seam down. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to squish. We're going to take our thumb. We're going to squish and kind of smear that seam together, like so. And then take your can, give it a gentle roll on the tabletop, just to kind of really weld that last little bit together. Okay, excellent. Now, put your can, or your cylinder, I should say, your clay cylinder at this point, tush down, okay? Take your wood tool or your fettling knife by the blade, okay? I want you to push that can down to the bottom of the table. We're just gonna even up the bottom so that clay and the can is all the way flush with the table there. Push that right down. Okay, the paper towel should allow that can to slide down there. as needed. Beautiful. Now we're going to trim the top edge of our cylinder even. What we're going to do is we're going to push our fettling knife through the side so it's right at the top edge of that clay cylinder. Here, you'll see me, I'm going to kind of push through, line my knife up. Oh, a little bit higher. Push right through. And we're going to let that knife ride along the edge of the can. We're just going to gently turn our cylinder, and we're going to cut off our excess clay we have. And just boop, 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 right around. Gently trim off that excess clay. And then pull it right off. Okay, use your thumb and finger to just kind of smooth that cut edge. Give a little pat, tap, tap. Okay. And now we're going to attach the base. So I'm going to go grab the base and I'll be back. All right, I'm back with my clay base. So you'll grab one of these from me. It's just a slab of clay that we've cut out to the size of, to be a little bit larger than the base of our tin can with the clay wrapped around it. If you do not have the little template color that I've pre-made and you haven't cut this in class, you can always throw a slab at home, right, with your hand, line the cylinder up, right, and then go ahead and just measure and trim yourself, okay, because you know slab technique from our other video if you're doing a little catch-up work at home. So here we go. Okay, so first thing I want to do is I'm going to take my base, I'm going to line it up on I'm going to take my cylinder and line it up on my base. I'm going to use my fettling knife to just gently, gently, gently trace around where the can is resting. I'm not cutting through. I'm just leaving a little trace line. Okay, now you know what we're going to do. We're going to score it up. I'm going to score my base here where we're going to attach the cylinder side to this base of clay. Okay, I'm going to take my base and make sure that you're scoring not the top where you can see into the can, but the base where all that paper towel is bunched up. And I'm going to score, 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 score all along the bottom edge. Okay, now I'm going to take my slip, same thing I did before, I'm going to dab, dab, dab. Slip all onto these score marks. Okay, I'm going to give it a little push and wiggle. We're going to get a good attachment. You're going to see slip kind of ooze out the sides there. Use your brush to just wipe up the excess slip. Okay, really good attachment. Okay, and now we're going to take our fettling knife and we're going to trim off most of the excess. We're going to leave maybe like a little 1/8 inch ring of clay outside the base. We're just trimming off some of that excess, but not all of it. We're not like trimming it flush, because we're going to use that little excess edge of clay to really make sure that this is all good and sealed down on the bottom. Okay, so we've got like that extra, that even might be a little bit too much on that one side. Just trim a little bit off. Okay, so we've just got that little bit of extra, and then what we're going to do is we're going to use our fingers. And we're not folding, we're like pushing it up the side to push that extra clay seam up the side, really sealing it in. And then we can kind of like smear, pulling things everywhere, smear that into the side of the cylinder. Okay, and now I've smeared. So let me move some of my tools here. Kind of like we did with the side seam, I'm just going to do a little gentle roll. Gentle roll, just to kind of help blend that into the side. A little pat, tat, tap on the table. And there, ladies and gents, is my well-formed cylinder. Now what's left is to open up the paper towel, reach in and gently pull the can out. Careful, these can have really sharp edges at the top. Okay, and then pull that paper towel out, and that'll just go in the trash and the can can come back up front to me. All right, last little bit is when we look inside, we can still see that we've got a seam there. Okay, so I want you to take your wood tool or your brush. I'm gonna try to angle this so you can see what I'm doing. And you're just gonna gently, we're just gonna try to blend that seam together. And same thing with any seam that's showing at the bottom. Just using that wood tool to kind of smooth some things out, because it can be really tough to reach into the bottom. And you can also do this with the brush. Take your brush and start smoothing, or if your fingers can reach far enough in, although our fingers kind of can only get part way down the cylinder, okay, you can do some smoothing that way. We just want to get some of the basic big bumps blended out so that we don't have as much smoothing work to do when it's all done. All right, ladies and gents, thanks so much for joining me today in Miss Rollicker's Art Room, and this is how we made our cylinder base. Okay, join me next time for talking about adding the handle. Terrific. Take care. Look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.